Hello, gamers. Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast for October 14th, 2025. I am the Nitro Rifle, Andres Cortez, and I'm joined by Greg, the Ground and Ghost Gamer.
Oh, hey, Andy. How are you?
And Tim, the Cool Man Taylor.
Hey! There's an energy going into this episode, Andy. Where are you at?
Sorry, I got onto the rest. I had to do the rest of the doc, and I was looking up adverbs and nouns and stuff for your thing, but I just couldn't think of anything because there are no types that start with the T.
Okay, I like that. Oh, so Greg, grounding. I thought you knew something.
No,
because the ghost makes sense for me. Being the 36-year-old Pokemon trainer / master that I am, depending on who you ask.
That's what they call him. He's not the new generation Pokemon fan like me.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. It is funny to me, and I guess this does clearly put me in the trainer side of things. People always ask, always.
You love ice, right?
Always ask me, who would be your ghost or who would be your gym leader? What are you as a gym leader? I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm quite frankly embarrassed by that.
You wear ice on your neck.
Yeah.
Even though it's not iced out.
Yeah.
But baby blue, light blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really. Laser blue.
The ice type Pokemon, there's cool ones, but I'm just like,
oh, cool ones. I see.
Yeah, we'll have to figure this out, everybody.
Yeah.
Also, at some point, I wanted to find my team of 6. I've learned over many generations of these games. There's the ones that I always gravitate towards, obviously, and most of them are like the ones we all do because the game's kind of feeds you in a way every generation. But I need to lock in and define it at some point. Pokemon Champions might be the thing, but we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that today. Everybody, today we are talking about Pokemon ZA review, not Z to A.
Not Z to A.
Pokemon Legends ZA. This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we get together to talk about the biggest reviews, previews, and topics of video games live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. And if you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Superchats. Let us know what our gyms would be and what types we would be. Even if it's a little combination of stuff. Yeah.
Even
the homie Cyberbones, Dylan, says that I look like that one electric cat with the blue and the spiky.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
Mancentric, Manectric. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, probably that one. Housekeeping. I've
always leaned psychic, though. The purple's cool, psychic's cool. The psychic Pokemon are cool.
Oh, okay.
Putting that out there.
Okay. Housekeeping. We're an 11-person business, all about live talk shows. Kind of Funny Games Daily was all about Sucker Punch talking about the next game after Yote. And after this is the Kind of Funny podcast. And friends of the show, Joey Esposito and Panda Musk, have launched a Kickstarter for Madam, their new original horror graphic novel titled Madam, quote, what if Mary Poppins practiced black magic and traveled from family to family, searching for human sacrifices to extend her immortality? If you want to know about it, go to kindoffunny.com/madam.
Oh, we love them.
Very, very cool.
They've been working on this a long time. It's exciting to see it get to this point where you can actually see some stuff and get on it.
Shout out to Panda Musk, just always being the GOAT. Happy Z to A week. Or sorry, I already screwed that up. Happy ZA week, not Z2A.
It's not your fault. It's that one PR person at Pokemon Worlds that said it to me, and then I came back and told y'all. Then Midler corrected us. Then you heard it as well.
And then at our event, that person had to go in front of the whole room and go, I was wrong.
Oh, okay.
You want to talk about one of the worst mistakes a human being could have made.
Say something in front of Greg Miller.
To the loudest guy who's going to say it over and over again.
Happy
he's a big Pokemon fan.
ZA week. Our new Poke Smiley crew necks are now available in 2 colorways. Perfect for catching Mon as the weather gets colder. Grab them now at kindoffunny.com/store. That's not the one I was looking for.
Show the sweatshirt, Kevin, when he's talking about the sweatshirt. Not the Pokemon from 3 conversations ago.
That's not the Pokemon I was looking for, by the way.
Oh, you were looking for Luxray.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Kindoffunny.com/store.
I got the white on white one. I want to get the red on white one.
White on white.
Thank you.
There's a version that's just this white
one.
The
Premier Ball version.
Yeah, and then there's the one over there that's... Oh, heads up. We got the last 4 of Kevin's credit card. This is big.
Oh, nice. Here we go. Switches back to the Pokemon. If you are a Kind of Funny member, today's Greg Way is 20 minutes about Pokemon Legends ZA review day, and parentheses, Patrick Klepek hanging out with Ben. Congrats to Patrick Klepek and his Bears.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, he's posted a reaction image of himself getting super stoked about that winning field goal Monday night. Stupid Dallas Cowboys. God, man. Just
Can't get it done.
Dak Prescott is just doing all he can. Greg, it's just so disappointing. The defense is
Sorry,
awful.
this is happening to you as always.
Thank you to our Patreon producers.
It happens every month,
every year,
week,
every
year.
year. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Delaney the Psalm Twining. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's start with topic of the show. The topic of the show is Pokemon ZA review. And just looking back, Pokemon Legends Arceus was a game that came out many years ago. The first version of this Legends sort of line that they've been working on, and that was an 83 on OpenCritic. Right now, Pokemon Legends ZA is sitting at an 82 on OpenCritic. I want to go through a couple of just roundup review stuff, and then we'll get to you all's thoughts. Really quickly, Catherine Lewis from Games Radar gave it 4 out of 5 stars and says, Pokemon Legends ZA offers a true slice-of-life Pokemon experience thanks to its anime-style real-time combat system and wholesome world-building elements. While its single-city setting can sometimes feel a bit samey, Lumiose is densely packed with things to do and discover. This is a world worth getting lost in. We have Chris Tapsell from Eurogamer with a 3 out of 5, says, Lumiose City could do with work, but Pokemon Legends ZA is much more tightly focused and delightfully goofy, returned to better form, at least by modern Pokemon standards. And we have 5 out of 5 from Jordan Midler at VGC, who says Pokemon Legends ZA is a grand adventure that once again proves the Legends series is home to the most interesting ideas Game Freak has. It is a game that understands its audience and feels like a love letter to both players who grew up with X and Y and those who have been here the whole time. This
morning I saw the tweet kind of roundup,
right?
Just the and stuff, and because it's pulling from Metacritic, the top one, it said VGC 10 out of 10. And I spit out my water, and I didn't even have water in my mouth. I was like, what? And then it's like, oh, wait, no, VGC does 5 out of 5. And I'm like, for some reason, that's totally different to me.
That's different than 10 out of 10.
100%, yeah. No,
and it is. It did. I mean, we understand
that's
why, but that's such a different thing.
He then goes on to say, I hope the Pokemon Legends series is here to stay. Who do I want to start with? Do I want to start with the veteran who's been there since day one, or do I want to start with the brand newcomer to the Pokemon franchise? I'm going to start with Greg Miller.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
That was
Greg
like
Miller,
you choosing your starting Pokemon.
Yeah, it was. A little rotating. Greg Miller, I want to start with you.
Yeah.
How long did you play Pokemon Legends ZA for? What did you think of it? Did you beat it enough, or did you play enough to put it on a little score for our review?
Sure. Can I just zag all immediately?
Zag.
What I'd like to do is start with, and this is very rare for me, a round of applause for Tim Geddes. All right, a round of applause for Big Tim Geddes.
Okay. Where's this going?
As you've gone through this and seen all these review roundups, this is serious. This is real. IGN's got a review in progress, right? Reb's very clear, hey, we didn't even get a week with this game. This game got to kind of funny on Thursday. The review embargo's first thing on Tuesday morning. That's a ridiculous turnaround time. And as I say in my Greg way, that's no shade to Nintendo or Game Freak. Make your game as good as possible. You don't know reviewers anything. Make it great for people. But at the rate we needed to play this game and put our lives on hold, Andy, I didn't roll credits. Tim did roll credits. And so I want to make sure he gets a round of applause. Midler, if you have a video game reviewer out there that rolled credits and put up a review today, shout out to them for putting their life on hold.
I appreciate that. I will have a little bit of shade towards how it all went down, just because it's guys, it's not like you didn't know this was happening. I do think that for a franchise as big as Pokemon, you should have your heads wrapped around that. I know a lot of things happen, but all right, cool. Yeah. I think that's going to affect the conversation about the reviews and all that. It's
of course
not going to affect mine. We'll get to that later.
So to answer your question, then, Andy, to dive right in, I've played 21 hours of Pokemon Legends ZA.
That's quite a bit.
Of course, as you know, the whole point of this game is climbing the ranks from Z to A, right, to be the best Pokemon trainer in Lumiose City. I'm rank B right now. So I'm knocking on the door of it being done, right? But I could have used a day or two because, of course, we got the code. I went on assignment on Friday to Seattle. I went to a wedding and family vacation on Saturday. I'm lucky I got as much as I have, but I think it speaks to how much I love this game, Andy. This is my Pokemon game. I think that's the easiest way to put it. I think as you've seen and heard my stories here on Kind of Funny of, okay, cool, I played Let's Go. I played the DS one back in the day a little bit with the pedometer.
Gold, Soul Silver.
Never stuck for me, yada, yada, yada. Then, of course, Ben falling in love with Pokemon, me watching the cartoon, coming back to Violet, something I had started and stopped. I poured so many hours into Violet. We did a review recently, right, of the game, all the DLC, the level 100 characters I have in that game, and how much I really enjoy that. But even Violet was a game I was playing and enjoying, but I would get to a point of just like, oh man, like I should really stop playing this right now. Like I'm just running around doing the same thing, and the environments, yes, there's a lot of Pokemon in them, but I feel like they're pretty empty, and I don't feel like I'm not wrapped up in this world. That is not the case with ZA. With ZA, I am so in on this world. I never felt like I was just doing something to do it. I felt like I was contributing. I love the characters. I love the supporting cast. I love my team of Pokemon. I love the side missions. I love Lumio City. Like, I think there's so much to thoroughly enjoy in this game. And then a big point for me, as a contention with Violet and Scarlet was the fashion and how there was none, and it was just school uniforms.
Right.
The amount, when I first got the game and you first get out into the world, just the grinding I was doing for money to then go buy new glasses, a new outfit, I have all this stuff that I'm rotating and having so much fun playing dress up with my character. I really love this game, and this many hours in, this close to what would be the credits of it and the finish of it. And again, there's this part of me that like, of course, I'm bummed that we didn't get more time with it so I could have completely finished it and be good to go. But there's also now this part of me that's so relieved that I get to go enjoy it at my own pace because I've been ignoring side missions. I haven't been doing certain things because I've just been trying to see how far I can get in the story. Right now, I would say that I'm an 8.5 on this game. I think this game is that great. I think it's just shy of amazing. I don't know if I was ever really amazed playing it with mechanics and this and that, animations. As always, no VO. Stuff we'll all get into as we go deeper into this. But right now, 8.5. I can't see that going down. I also don't really see it going up. I don't think there's going to be, for me, there's twists and turns in the story. What they're setting up, I have to Google and stuff like that. I don't know what the hell's going on, but right. I'm enjoying, even as a newcomer, I understand what's happening. I'm enjoying myself. I think it's a great game.
Awesome. Tim Geddes.
I just want to say I very much love hearing you say all of that, and I'm extra excited for you because yesterday when I left you, I was in a similar spot to where you were in the game, and I locked in yesterday, and I put in, I think, like 10 hours yesterday.
Very cool.
And I just want to let you know all the things you love about it, you have the best is yet to come. Like I think that all the things that you just said in terms of the side characters and all that stuff, it's like the game really, really, really starts to like deliver on all that stuff in a way that I was very happy with, and I think you will be too. In a way that don't worry about having to Google and all that stuff. It's not that type of thing. It's just it delivers on the character.
We're not going to get into spoilers. We can talk about that.
No spoilers. Exactly. There's all. I mean, because there's a lot to spoil in this game, and we will not be spoiling things in this review. We will be very vague about everything.
A lot of things, yes.
Yes, but very, very excited for you. So for me, it's interesting, right? Being a day one Pokemon guy, that means I have the baggage of playing all of them and having thoughts on all of them. And sometimes when you play every single thing, it can feel a little bit iterative here and there. This is an example of that in some ways, but in so many others, it's like, oh, there's a beautiful future ahead of us. And I felt that a little bit with Arceus. You see it in Scarlet and Violet, and then you see it even more here. It's like there's a momentum going that I'm very, very, very excited about. Like in so many ways, this is what I want Pokemon games to be.
Okay.
This is an experiment, though. It is not a full-on accomplishment.
Oh.
It is a very successful experiment, though. The skeleton's here. It's very good. Everything's there. It's just a tad unremarkable. And I wrote a lot of this down because I want to make sure that I'm very accurate with what I'm saying here. But this is the most important part of this. My takeaway is very positive on this game. This is the bones to the best cartoon-accurate combat system a Pokemon game is ever going to be. I do think it's going to get a lot better gameplay-wise, mechanic-wise, control-wise. But in terms of what the combat system we've dreamed of it is this. It's here, and I can't really believe that. Watching the show for so long and watching Pokemon Stadium and thinking it felt that way, even though I know it didn't, it kind of does now, and that's very, very cool. This is more similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake than I could have ever imagined in terms of its battle system and how it works. Instead of switching between people actively, you were running around and directing your Pokemon to do different attacks, and then you can switch them out on the fly. And it does very much feel like that very frenetic. You cannot put the controller down. You cannot pause for a second. It is so fast paced, which I really love. But the game starts off very slow with that battle system, and I think it takes way too long to really get interesting at all. Once it gets interesting, though, it's very good, a very solid system, and I was looking forward to many battles. And I want it clear, last night I played 10 hours, and I want it incredibly clear. This was not a, oh man, Tim's experience of this was changed because he had to beat it for review. I did, but I wanted to. Nothing would have stopped me last night. I was like, I'm locked in, and I was happy that I had a reason, an excuse to tell G I'm staying up till 3 a.m. To do this, because I was all in, and a lot of that had to do with the battle mechanics really finally singing. The controls of the battle, though, I know a lot of the game are not intuitive. I think there's just a lot to have to control. I don't envy them for having to figure out how to make this all work, but I think a lot of the challenge they present us, both kind of like parkour based, I guess, and battle based in the Mega Evolution battles, or just even the normal battles, I feel like there are way too many things that are just that buttons that shouldn't be where they are, or like your hands crabbing in a way that's just like, there has to be a better way to do this. This story-wise is a direct sequel to X and Y, which I was very happy to see. This is something I've always wanted from Pokemon. Take the core games, follow up in the story threads and characters from them in a slightly more adult way, and the game delivers on that. So I really want to give them props for doing what I've asked for so long there, in opposition to Arceus, which was, taking place in the past. So
cool, yeah.
Maybe it would have like references to characters or something, but this has so much, like every couple minutes something's happening that I'm like, oh wow, like I vaguely remember that from playing X and Y over 10 years ago. But it was nice, and I think that they did a really good job with that. It's a very sweet story about communities living in a city in the fallout of terrorist attacks, rebuilding the best way they know how, and despite their differences, bonding over the city they love. And if that's not a season of Pokemon, I don't know what is. And I feel like they really achieved that Pokemon anime feeling, not just in gameplay, but in story and side characters and the Pokemon themselves as well. And I want to commend them for that, because I think that this is the best job at that they have ever done. And they've been building towards that recently with the end game of Scarlet and Violet, everything having to do with Area Zero, and then definitely with the 2 DLC packs, the Indigo, or the Teal Mask and Indigo Disc. The characters in that and the way that they set them up and had them kind of be the entire through line of your adventure and the battles and payoff of all that stuff. I'm like, they're doing something here, and they understand that we need to care about them and not just have just cool looking people we're fighting. It's like, I actually care about me beating them means something, or them beating me even means something, all of that. And I think this game very much continues that. And the way it does that is through very well directed camera and animations. Like throughout so many of the more important story beat battles, it's like we're getting those very interesting anime-esque like zoom ins like lines of dialogue in the middle of a battle that I'm like, yeah, dude, like this is what I'm looking for. Awesome character designs throughout, mannerisms, animations, the character themselves, like the way that they talk, everybody, you like know who is who in a way that I think was the best realized we've seen in a very long time, with unique music themes, like again, checklist of like a lot of the things that I've been wanting from these Pokemon games. But all of it's presented in a way that just feels stiff and awkward because it doesn't have voice acting. And I know this sounds like a complaint that half the people are going to hear and just be like, get over it. And half the people are just going to roll their eyes because it's like, Tim, we heard this before. They're never going to do anything about it. I think it's becoming more and more of a problem because we're at that. I think we've crossed the line in the last game or two where the presentation is so clearly going for hype and not having the VO. And I'm not just saying read to me. I'm saying act to me. I'm saying I want announcers in stadium battles like calling things out where you hear it like ringing through, or just like when you see the character pop-ins and they say something about like where they're at, like we're getting fired up or whatever. I know it's going to be corny, but it's going to add, and they're clearly going for it, and it feels off. And there's so much more of it in this game that it just feels more off than ever. And it is a legit criticism that I think makes this game demonstrably worse throughout the entire experience, specifically towards the late game stuff, where I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, this is kind of hype. And I should be like, let's fucking go. And you clearly know what's missing. It's nothing besides the voice acting and a couple gameplay decisions of like, you should have let me play that instead of just showing it, or let me play in a more interesting way than you did.
It's a cool piece of dialogue, and it's just somebody with their idle animation. It's like,
yeah,
why?
You know, but even then, I don't want to like talk too much about the idle animations because I do think the animations are a major step up. It's not perfect, but I was very impressed with how varied they were and how, when I would expect them to just kind of be standing there awkwardly, they were doing something of like, let's go, you know, like bigger motions.
Voice talent, it costs a lot of money, Tim, man. Pokemon, they're just not right there right now financially.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't want to.
Yeah,
it'll take a while for them to get there.
In these economic headwinds, they don't want to go ahead and drop that coin.
Yeah, so it's like they're
But have you
clearly
heard about AI?
they're going for personality and hype, and there's an uncanny valley there that I think is something that has to be addressed, and I think that critically I need to look at and take
100%.
into consideration. But it's Pokemon, and I think it's Pokemon at its best in the sense of having the loop of like you're going through the motion, and you're like, oh, I don't have one of those guys. And then you just are sidetracked to go get one of those guys, right? And then the more important thing, because that's every Pokemon game, but I think the difference between a good Pokemon game and a forgettable Pokemon game is, did I bond with my team? And throughout this game, I really didn't think I was bonding with them because of how the experience works and just because of the gameplay of this one compared to the other games.
Is that because you weren't going on little camping trips where you would throw a beach ball at your little Pokemon?
No, it's not that stuff. It's more just like it ironically feels a little bit more numbers go up than Pokemon normally does, just because of how active it all is and how often you're getting experience and your whole team's you're just seeing the numbers go up and up and up. And it's like, it doesn't feel like you're working on one of them.
Just from an outside perspective, it seems less of a familial, I am going to, you know, form friendships with my squad. With the whole Z to A ranking, it feels more like you are a manager of a football team, and it's just like, hey, we got to cut you, man. Like, no hard feelings. This isn't personal. Like, it feels less like it feels more like, you know, the really, really rough end of like, this is business, man. Z, I got to get to A.
It's interesting. We'll talk a lot more about the details of that dynamic there. In terms of, I was very fascinated gameplay wise of how much changing your move set feels like more of a important factor than it has in previous games in comparison to changing out your team. That is still important, but I had by the end of it, I loved my team and they felt like a team. And when I had to cut people because I needed a type advantage or something, it kind of hurt. And I was like, oh shit, they got me. Like that's it. They got me. And
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I want to, I'm trying to let you get through.
I'm almost there. Just the one story I have though, that I think that this is kind of to me, the like thing about like where I'm at this game is I was feeling that way about not bonding with them or not caring. And there was one guy on my team, I'm not gonna say his name for Nintendo spoiler reasons, but he was a little dude and I really like him.
Oh, Pokemon.
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted him to grow up and be in my final team, but he just really wasn't pulling his weight. But I just kept him there and he was just like the sixth, and like it would have made my gameplay better to get rid of him and put somebody else there. But I left him there and I let him just keep rocking with me. And we get towards one of the like later fights, and he clutched up in the middle of a fight and he kind of just went in and acted as a transition point for me to like just get my wits about me to get the rest of the team in the place they needed to be to win. Wow. And we pulled it off. And it really felt like a 3-episode arc of the cartoon of like, all of a sudden we had this moment of like, hey, I knew you had something special.
Wow.
Then the next battle, he clutches up and finishes the fight for me. Right after that fight, evolves not just from leveling. He's one of the ones that evolves from friendship level, which is like a semi-hidden thing. And I'm like, well, this feels like the most special moment of all time.
That's awesome.
And then by the end of the game, I have him, and I won't say what happens after that, but it's like he's doing things, and I'm like, this literally feels like the cartoon.
Oh yeah,
and I'm living it, and that is spectacular and so much of what I could ask for from this experience.
Greg, it's like with Steve Kerr when Michael Jordan punched him. Things weren't going great.
Remember
And then he
Let's go
hit some
Bulls.
big shots in the finals, man.
So with Pokemon Legends ZA, Switch 2's launch year continues to just continuously feed me with fun every couple weeks. Like, I've been very, very satisfied with it. Not ever blown away entirely necessarily, but very satisfied with just how much stuff is spoken to me. So Pokemon Legends ZA, I am giving a 7.5. Very good. Very good.
Very, very good. I can't wait to hear more about Pokemon Legends ZA, including a bit more details, but that's going to be really hard because of embargoed stuff. But we'll get to all that after a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium, polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Y'all know that Tim Geddes has been outdoors a lot playing Pokemon Go, and he's been rocking his Shady Rays the entire time. Awesome to see him out and about looking dope. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code FUNNY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. That's 300,001 if you include Tim.
I have a super chat here from The Uncharted Wolf. $5 super chat. Thanks for supporting us. Who says, without spoiling, how do y'all feel about the new Mega Evolutions?
I like it. I don't think it's amazing. I think I can never remember terracizing,
Terrestrializing,
whatever the fuck they call them. I think it makes more sense than that did in Scarlet Violet, where I was a lot like, I'm just doing this because you're doing it. This one, it is like, all right, cool, you're doing it, and I'm using the super effective type, so I'm gonna switch him. I think they do a good job of adding it where, even if you're not the fully Mega Evolved, you can use the power for it, and like it's a nice addition to the repertoire to get you up against powerful foes. I like it more than last time. I, again, am not like, whoa, like, ah.
To add on to the super chat from Uncharted Wolf, they also ask, any all-timer designs? Tim?
Okay, well, first off, just addressing the Mega Evolution stuff.
Oh, well, this is like to go along with the Mega Evolution.
Oh, all-timer design, I mean, in some ways, yes, I'll say that.
Okay, cool.
I like it a lot. Character designs, I think there are some all-timers. Some of the Mega Evolutions, all-timers for maybe the wrong reasons. They're funny.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I do like them overall. But Mega Evolution has always been my favorite gimmick. Like, there so far has been 4 different gimmicks, I guess, where in Mega Evolution was the first one where they introduced it in X and Y. Sun and Moon, they had, damn, I'm blanking on the name now, but Z moves, that's what it was. And then Galar, the Sword and Shield, had Gigantamax and Dynamax, where they get giant. Yeah. And then Scarlet and Violet had Terrestrializing. And I think that Mega Evolution, by far, is my favorite and always has been. And I think that that's kind of a popular opinion among everybody because it's cool from a perspective of, oh my God, the Pokemon we love are getting a new form, but it's also temporary. It's more Digimon-like. I think all that stuff is so cool. It allows great story moments and lore of getting the stones and all of that. Like, I think it's just a win across the board, and it makes sense. It like all just feels like, oh yeah, I understand this. If you understand Pokemon, it makes sense. I think some of the other ones have cool things about them. Like, I think story-wise, specifically, the Z moves are very cool. I hated the Terra stuff. Yeah. Like, that definitely is for more like hardcore BGC players, but for it to permeate the core game is that much, I was like, this is just, I don't like this, you know? And Dynamax, I think, is cool, but also a little gimmicky in a way that's not enhancing the game, even though it is functionally very similar to Mega Evolution. All that's to be said, I think Mega Evolution should stay. I think it should be a standard going forward for all Pokemon. I don't think it's going to be, but having it being so heavily featured here is an absolute pro to this game.
Very, very cool. I see Kebabs with a super chat saying, has ZA learned any lessons from Arceus and Violet?
I mean, yeah, right? I think it's definitely an evolution of all of that. I think, it's hard to say what they'd specifically be before I venture into what I like about it or my criticisms of older games, right? Even the setting and the time period and the speed at which it all goes, like I feel like there's there. And I think, again, to bring a little bit of that question in and a little bit of Tim's criticism in, right? Like I felt the active battling and being able to swap your guys on the fly and bring them into world puzzles of things to do just around the world, that for me built relationships faster than any other Pokemon game. You were talking about not feeling connected till towards the end. From the early on point of, obviously my starter, what up Totodile, you know what I mean?
Good taste. Me
Jumping
too.
in there, running with him, like breaking him out. But then it was adding in other Pokemon where it was, all right, well, I need a fire type. All right, well, I need this. Flying, sure, get in here. And then finding those things of like, oh man, I can't get to that. Oh, wait a second. Bring in the flying Pokemon, knock the thing out. Okay, cool. And then keeping them around. It's a weird one again for me being the new generation of Pokemon fan, which means I know nothing versus Tim. Well, I have my little printout chart. That's what I was laughing at earlier. I printed out my little. I've had a big magazine chart and I have it on my phone, but now I do this with the app that Ignacio Rojas made me buy that has all the Pokemon in it. So like when somebody new pops up, I type it in. And I look
That's
at my little thing.
nice.
I fucking love this fucking game. But anyways, like being that involved and having them in and learning. Like now I'm impressed myself, Andy. When a dude pops up and I'm like, you're dragging, hold on. You know what I mean? Like I know immediately, and it's like, oh, I remember fighting you earlier and I used my bird. So I'm bringing my bird back in. You know what I mean? We're going to go this way. Like I'm very into it. And I feel like I do have these relationships with him. And it also helps that for most of my team, at least the ones I'm especially using now, they didn't get ugly. You know what I mean? We're not going to bring up Quackers, all right? We're not going to talk about how horrible he looked by the end, right? We fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But everybody here looking dope, looking good. Even their teen years, their awkward teen years, I was like, I still vibe with it. I'm vibing with
I don't vibe with Crocodile.
I
Never have,
understand
never will.
we're in the awkward teen years, and then we get somewhere good again.
Let's see. I have a super chat here from Octavio Armenta, who says, Tim, would you recommend this as your first Pokemon?
Yeah, I would. I think that there's so much here that just to go back to Kebabs has learned from the last two games. Like clearly, like it's funny because the Legend series it's spin-off, but more it's mainline, just different. Like I don't think it's a spin-off. Pokemon sees it as mainline. Fans get very up in arms about how you phrase all of this, but clearly these games are being made in tandem and working off of each other. Like when you play Arceus and then you see Scarlet and Violet, it's like, all right, cool, these are all adding to each other. So I'm very interested in where Gen 10 is going to go battle system wise, of how active it's going to be versus how classic it's going to be. Like I wonder if Champions coming out is kind of the crown on the top of that battle style, and like the turn-based is going to be there. And going forward, this is a bit more like the direction they're going. Wouldn't be surprised. I know that would upset a lot of people, but they clearly are seeing something here. And again, the bones are there. The experiment worked, but I got lost a bit. What was the actual question?
Oh, just asking if you recommend this as being your first Pokemon.
Yeah. I think that there's this, again, it's first Pokemon. If you have seen the cartoon, I imagine you imagine that that's what Pokemon games are like. Yeah, this is the one. I think it might be a bit overwhelming in some cases, and I think that there is just a lot of busy work that like isn't fun, but you're just doing it. So I'm not necessarily thinking if it's your first game that you're going to love it.
Okay. I want to shout out Gamer HDH for a first-time subscription with Prime. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. Don't let that subscription go to waste. Use it on your favorite creators. Tim, I wanted to dive more into gameplay because you mentioned during your thoughts of how you felt about the video game that Pokemon Legends ZA feels like the closest it can get to what the anime, what battles in the anime could look like. And I wonder what would need it to kind of cross that finish line. What aspects of the combat would make you go, oh shit, this is like a 1-for-1. This is how I feel watching the show.
There's a lot to break down there that's complicated to explain because so much of it is knowledge of Pokemon, just how it works. And I think that when you look at the moves that they have, when a Pokemon uses Dig, you know what that's supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it does. It goes under, the next turn it pops up. You use Fly, same idea, but it flies up and goes down. When you use Hypnosis, it puts a Pokemon to sleep, right? Like there's all these things that when it's turn-based, it can kind of, you don't really need to deal with it. But when it is action-packed, it's like there has to be a actual representation and understanding of like what the different moves are doing. And I think the biggest fault of this game is there is no way with one controller you can control a character moving around 6 different Pokemon, 4 different moves that have 20 different variations of what those moves are doing. It's not just close range, long range, right? It's like there's so many more different types of things, and they're all presented in ways that, to Greg's point, you kind of need a phone and a chart next to you to be able to like figure things out, or just kind of throughout the game memorize things. I feel like if they could, they would want to explain a lot more on the screen in the combat than they do, like the last couple games have done. Scarlet and Violet, when you're fighting a Pokemon that you fought before, its types will pop up. And I think that...
And it'll say effective.
Exactly.
Effective,
and I know a lot of people are like, I don't want that, whatever. But it's like, I do think that that was a really good thing to add for kids learning the new Pokemon, and just for Greg learning the new Pokemon, of like understanding that a bit more.
And this is this is a fun tangent or whatever. See, the thing is though, I think that worked against me, where I didn't have to learn the Pokemon. Oh, I fought this guy before. Oh, that's super effective. I can go into my team and be like, who's got it? You've got it. Come over. Where I didn't like, this is again a different experience.
You kind of forced
of the
yourself
dude
to learn.
popping up, and I'm like, Dragon. All right, do this. Okay, wait, no, this you're gonna use Ice. Wait, what did I? Oh, like I have to play a bit of memory, so I'm actually memorizing and learning the characters in a way I haven't before in a Pokemon.
Yeah, I just wonder if that's going to stick with you. And I'm just saying, it's like, I feel like that's just adding an extra layer that I know Nintendo doesn't want, because clearly the other games they've made, they don't do that. And I feel like there's been a couple steps back in terms of the design of what they're putting out there. And there's so many like bars and so many things kind of like you have to wait, like cooldown and stuff. But I actually think the game needs more cooldown meters. I think it needs more visual tells of when you can do certain things again, because oftentimes you're not button mashing, you know exactly what you're trying to do, but you are kind of hitting the button like, I feel like I should be able to do this already.
When can I get to my satchel? Why can't I get to my satchel?
Exactly.
I just won this fight in a multi-fight battle.
Yeah.
Let me go to my satchel. Why do I have to wait for the other guy to show up to do it?
And your item, like little loading bar or whatever it is, cooldown meter, only pops up after you've used an item, and then it goes away. And they do that because the screen's already very cluttered and there's a lot going on. So a lot of my stuff is just, it's control and UI based of like, I get the intentions, I get what they're doing, but there's just a lot of like little tiny things that make it very clunky and cumbersome. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact too that like, I don't think that this might be a hot take for people playing the game. I don't think you need to be controlling the human character. I think that adds an element that gets in the way of the game. And I think that if you took that out of it, maybe just lessen its importance. Like there could be still big attacks coming at you that you might need to dodge or else it causes problems. But that is such a core part of the game, and it never feels good. It's like this game often turns into an action RPG a la Kingdom Hearts, or is asking you to do some like platforming sections. But the game's not built for that, right. And it feels that way. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not good. And I do, and there's a lot of it, you know?
And I think the platform is delightfully clunky. Like,
yeah, sure.
I really like doing it, where I see it and I'm like, oh, let's go. And it's like, and like early on, I was like, I know I'm going to get some kind of thing here. Why don't I? And then hours later, you get it. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, yes, it is not good platforming, but it's like, I don't know. It works so well in the world and the way Pokemon controls, where I was like, I like this.
I mean, yeah, but I think that's the problem. It needs to control better than
100%.
that. And it reminds me of the Alice in Wonderland world in Kingdom Hearts 1. And if you know, you know. And the whole game is that. And it's like, including the battle systems. And I think that that's kind of a big problem, where it's like, I just think they could have went a different direction with it. And again, I understand why they did that part, but I think that it turned into just too much like, man, this is so cool, but it could be actually great. And instead, it's delightfully clunky. And that's true, but I really, really think that they're so close to more than that.
It feels like your thoughts about the combat not quite being as one for one kind of feel like your same feelings about there not being voice acting, where it's like these things that this is looking better and better as it has over several decades, and there's still no voice to it, and that kind of throws you off. And when you're seeing these Pokemon in a much more active, non-turn-based combat, and when somebody does dig, and it's just like the character just kind of like jiggles a little bit. You're like, oh, but they look so good right there. No, that's not it.
So check this out, Andy. And this is actually, I think, a very important point to make. It's actually, they're completely opposite problems. And to be clear, Dig, it looks the way you think it should.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
It's just, they go under, they dig, they Bugs Bunny dig over, and they pop out. Like, I am blown away at the animations in this game and how hard they went, how Hydro Pump looks compared to Water Gun.
Okay.
And not just from an animation perspective, but from a move perspective of what it does to the arena you're in. Like, it's fucking cool. It's just in terms of subsects of understanding this type of move versus this type of move, I really just think there needs to be, I keep saying UI, that might not even be the right thing, but like some way to look, some denotation, something of like, not just short range, long range move, but like understanding your move sets and what they are going to be compared to others. Like it just kind of just feels like, yeah, just try things and then you're just going to memorize that this button does that. But like, Pokemon games need to be a little bit deeper than that because that's the secret sauce to the battles and like especially post game and all of that stuff. The difference though with the presentation stuff is that the gameplay is what it is, whereas the presentation, they are nailing it. It's just missing one key ingredient. It's like watching when the Mummy trailer came out from with Tom Cruise and it was like missing certain sound effects.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, this is right, but it's awfully wrong.
Right.
And that's the difference there where it's like, no, I really think that they do such a good job with so much of the battle system. It's just, I think the implementation overall is not quite there. And I notice that every single time, but it's still very, very good. And I am thrilled that we got this close even because I think that getting this close means we'll get there.
If I'm understanding your argument correctly, I would push back on it, but I might be missing the point. So stop me if I am. Back to the ownership and knowing these Pokemon, right? Like, I really, for the first time, I think I went into TMs once in Violet, where it was like I was up against somebody who's just kicking my ass, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to power level whoever. I'm just going to get a TM and apply it to whoever I can to make it work. This one, again, having that team, having the ownership, how easy it is to swap in and out your moves, and learning what all the moves did, it was like, okay, cool. Like, well, I have a water type, but I'm going to put an ice on there. I unlock this TM. That sounds going in and looking and really not min-maxing, but really getting into the minutia of what my Pokemon could do in battle. I hadn't done before in any 3 of the Pokemon games I had played. So I felt like this one, there was an ownership of it. And even though it was, I actually went in and I read what the moves could do, and then I would go and watch them do what it was, so I understood the difference between a move A and move B. I'd start using things here, but I don't want to get into
exactly
embargo stuff.
Yeah,
so I think it worked for me again of making me feel more into this game, more understanding of what the hell it was trying to do.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I do think that I agree with you. Like I changed moves in this game way more than I ever have in the past, and that is a core part of this game that I found very satisfying. But I also think that it should have went further. I think that it is at like a 7 implementation when I really would like it to be at a 9, like a 10 duh. But like I do think that like I can see the ways that this could be really fleshed out. And I also think this is clearly a side project in the sense of its scale, like it all being in one city, it all being as focused as this game is. It's like, and how the Pokemon that you are finding and even the move sets you're getting from the team in comparison to other games. It is not the full experience, and I think that.
And how do you feel about that? And I know I'm pivoting. You're in the middle.
Yeah.
But I would love your take on that again, because for me, Violet, the open world. I love open world games, and I love the idea of that. But I felt like there was so much. You always talk about like when Todd Howard in Bethesda showed Skyrim the first time, right? And I'm gonna screw it up, but I forget. They're like something interesting should happen every 30 seconds, every minute, or whatever when you're running in an open world. Where in Violet. Granted, you're seeing other Pokemon, you're running out and chasing, you're trying to catch them all, but I still felt like it was just giant stretches of like, okay, it's a grassy hill and then over this and then there's a wall. Like I didn't feel like they made the most out of that open world as somebody who loves open worlds. So Lumio City, I think being a character unto itself made this experience so much better for me. Not necessarily the contained portion, but the narrative. Here's why we have wild zones. Here's why we have battle zones. Here's why this isn't working and now it is, and da-da-da-da. And then, like, you were talking about the terrorism and people and all these things. Like, there's like, this is really cool. It made me feel so connected to that world in a way. In Violet, maybe the town where my school was, I felt a little bit
Yeah, it's rough to answer that because this just goes back to the baggage of you play the game, and then you play the next one, you look back on the other one, and it's like you focus on the things you like, and you kind of make excuses for the things you don't.
Sure.
And then years later, when you're playing the next one, you're like, well, man, I'm focused on the things I like, and the last one had all these things I don't. They solved that. And it kind of feels like they keep solving a problem and then causing others.
Sure.
And I think that we're just constantly in that cycle. And we're never going to get out of that with the way that Pokemon treats these games. And that, in my opinion, sucks. But I get it. They're making money and enough people are happy and they're buying the game. So that is what it is. But yeah, I mean, everything you said, I'm with you about Scarlet and Violet. Like, there's so much bullshit. I think there's a lot more fat in Scarlet and Violet that I don't want to do than there is in this game.
100%.
Having said that, what you were talking about, like the wild areas and the zones and stuff, so much of it, I understand why they're doing it from a gameplay perspective. I hate it. Like, I think the city just let it be open. Just like, don't wait. Don't make me have to wait till nighttime to do a certain thing, and also make it incredibly easy to get to nighttime. It feels like busy work. It's like, just let me do the things when I want to do the things. Like, let me just go to have these areas be. I'm speaking very vaguely because I don't want to get in trouble here. But like, have the wild area or this area or that area just available at all times, because I don't really understand why not. Like, it doesn't really, like, why not? Period. Right? Like, just like, the whole city's kind of open to you from the start.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because the whole city's the exact same thing. And like, you've seen the trailers, you've seen the game, you know what this is. And I'm with you that like the city is a character to itself, and I'm very fond of it. I think that the music, I think that
the music,
the French culture, the stuff that they have going on, the fashion, all of it's like, yeah, like they leaned in, and it reminds me a lot of the Kitakami expansion in and I keep forgetting the name of it, the Teal Mask, which I really loved. I think it had so much character and personality because the place it was in, and they took that seriously, and they very much do here. I think that they pull it off, but I can't for a second act like it's not the worst like area in a Pokemon game.
Wow.
In a very long time. I mean, and it's like, it's bustling. There's things to do. So many side quests. Like, all that stuff's great. It all looks identical.
More monotonous than Arceus.
I mean, it's the city version. Yeah. It looks it's way sharper.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
we didn't talk about performance. This game runs.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. And it's sharp. I didn't have any problems.
I was gonna say, do you have bugs? Because
a handful.
Reb Valentine,
Not
I think, talked about
here.
falling through. Yeah, for me it was I didn't fall through the world or anything like Reb. I was breezing. I was getting ready this morning when I read Reb's thing. I'll go back for a full read. My bug was occasionally in battles, buttons would just stop working. Where I would like try, I can't. I'd have to hit the home button, go by home screen, come back in, and then my buttons would work again.
Yeah, I honestly, it's like not even enough to like bring up as a point.
Got it.
But there were a couple times where the same thing happened to me, where something will happen and like a bridge essentially forms across rooftops, like somehow, and I would get caught in the bridge, and like yeah, exactly. There's just no way for me to get, and that happened like 3 times.
Oh wow,
in different places.
Weird.
And part of that's just because I probably ran too soon, but like that still shouldn't happen. Easy enough to get out of. You have fast travel like from the jump of this game, which again makes exploring the city just feel like I am just going place to place to place. And when they all look identical, like you're calling the different districts like blue and red in French, I don't know how to say them, and
Rouge,
green and all this stuff. But it's like nothing about the areas is that color or anything. And like I just feel like even it being one city, it's like I've been in cities. I literally was in Paris a couple weeks ago, and it's like there's a lot more variation than this. Like when I started seeing areas that I can't name, that I'm like, oh, that's cool, they have this. And then I saw 10 more of that. I'm like, okay.
Makes it a little less special.
Yeah, and it's like, again, I am a fan of this city. Like, I think that there's gameplay-wise, they do great. The characters and all that stuff's great. It's just like, it is incredibly boring, and I'm very surprised at how it looks the way it looks in the trailer the entire game.
I have a
Meanwhile,
question
though, Andy, for me, so I'm just running around doing everything, and I'd be like, I'd fast travel, sure, but then I come out of the street after. Oh man, yeah, let's just talk about fucking Violet. All right, everywhere I go, I got these 3 stalls jammed together. I got to heal my Pokemon at it. This is a boring experience. Now I get to go into these little Pokemon shops, and they put my little guys in the little oven. Like, yeah, they give them back. I run out. She's saying bonjour. I'm like, this is great. And then I'd be like, yeah, I'll fast travel to the main things. But then there'd be plenty of times like, you know what? I'm going to walk it. I want to pick up all these things with my Pokemon. I want to see what side quest is happening.
How quickly did you take off the stupid hat?
They literally are like, here's a hat. I'm like, fuck no. No.
Take it back.
Again, I ran out and started buying stuff immediately. And there's so many shops in this game with outfits and good outfits in this game. As a fashionista, so stoked.
Best outfits I've ever seen in a Pokemon game.
Wow.
Very, very low bar. But that's not a dig at this game. I'm impressed with this game.
One of the things I want to make sure I call out, because it's a throwaway bullet point, but especially early on, I was playing it and I'm like, man, this is giving me the Animal Crossing vibes I've been missing. Of just, here's a great little track on repeat. I'm running through a lovely town. Everyone's nice to me. We're doing dumb little things. They're giving me shit for no reason. I'm like, yeah, I want to live here.
People just give me gifts left and
I
right.
love this.
When the music's good, the music's so good in this. It just, unfortunately, and this is another thing where I'm like, Pokemon Company, Game Freak, like, fuck you guys. You have the money. Like, so much of it, not so much, a lot of it is beautifully performed. And then so much of it is just cheap little MIDI shit. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, and the juxtaposition back and forth is, I think, like, brutal.
And I'll be general with this. When you get to some of the bigger battles, the boss battles that you have multiple times in this game or whatever, they play this really offensive song that I had to start turning it off. Like, it's not offensive, like they're saying slurs, but I mean, it was just like the you know, like things are askew, right? And so like the music starts getting like weird and like out of time. I'm like, I don't like this at all.
We'll have to talk later.
Supposed
about
to make
what
me
you're
feel
talking
uneasy or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a super chat here from Street Shadow, $5 super chat. Thanks for your support. Says Quaxley's final evolution in Scarlet and Violet was the biggest betrayal in Pokemon
I almost
evolution
walked
history.
away from the series forever.
And then put in parentheses partial sarcasm, but it says it was the first time I dropped my OG starter. Super
Who
chat.
are you? I don't know you.
Real quick, before we get to the next super chat, something I just want to tell you, Greg, that like I think is cool, and like it's not a defense or like propping up anything.
Tell me
Just,
why
like,
my score is wrong. Go for it.
No, it's about the Pokemon Center, which I do want to give them props in the last couple generations, where I really feel like this started with Generation 8, which was the Sword and Shield, right? Each game has not just been in a different place, but kind of had a different theme. So that one, Sword and Shield, it had that like the football soccer theme, right? Where it was way more like arena based, England and all that. All of that
was
so
chanting.
cool.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Pokemon
The only voice
centers-
in a game. People
the
chanting.
Pokemon centers were where you like heal your Pokemon, and they had all the shops and stuff. It felt like you're going to like the Chase Center, like an arena, like a sports arena.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like so cool and fit the vibe of that. And then getting to Scarlet and Violet, like it being school, it is kind of going on the trip. And these are like kiosks, right? Like where they're handing out Monster Energy drink or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this being in France and being more vacation vibes for your main character, like just going to the little local cafes. Like I really love the commitment to the world that they're building here within Pokemon. And they're building something, man. And it's just like it's 2 steps back, 3 steps forward. It's like every direction is being all mixed around, but like we're getting somewhere, y'all.
Super chat from Magnimus with a $3 super chat asks, do Pokemon have their abilities?
No abilities in this game, I'm pretty sure.
Super chat from Yang Fam says, Switch 1 performance, shiny Pokemon, PPs and items. A lot of that stuff is embargoed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We only got Switch 2 codes.
Yeah.
Ken Jr. with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Ken Jr. asks, how does autosave work? Can it be turned off?
Oh.
I
Well,
don't
it works really well. I don't know.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I mean, I was still.
I don't remember
save every
even
time.
seeing an autosave icon ever, so I was scared
it
about
pops
it.
up and says-
Okay, yeah, because I was very like nervous about saving, so I saved a whole bunch. It's easy to save though. So
Yeah, I don't know if you can turn it off. I can look into it, I guess, for you.
Super chat from Mr. Hawks, $5 super chat asks, or says, physical media guy Tim, can you please give us a 10-minute rant on how awful the Switch 2 box art is for this and every other cross-gen game is?
I mean, you've heard that 10-minute rant 10 different times on shows. You're right.
I hate it.
It's abysmal.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I got coming soon on Switch 1 physical. Absolum.
Ooh.
You got to play Absolum, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dude, the song with Mick Gordon on it is crazy.
Okay.
Like, it's so
Okay.
damn good. Absolum is very, very
It
good.
doesn't look like you can turn it off easily in the settings.
There's no settings in this game.
Oh, of course.
Classic.
I'm not
Just
surprised by
none.
that. I'm not surprised by
Less
that.
than ever, I think.
John Van Pelt with a Scott Van Pelt's son. I don't know if you knew that. Said with a $2 super chat says, "This might be embargoed, but is Torchic here again?"
We
Probably
can't talk
embargoed.
about Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah, no, not a whole lot of discussions to be had about Pokemon. And Kebabs with a $2 super chat says Andy is definitely a flaming hot fire gym leader. I just don't feel like obviously I love flaming hot snacks. I've always identified with ice or electric.
Yeah.
Even though I love the color purple, I'm not a psychic or
I
don't freak your mind like that. You know,
I feel like I prioritize electric on my team, so I do think I lean electric to an extent.
He asked about a Pokemon. Could you talk about it? I already forgot who that is. I don't care. But it reminded me, and I went and cross-referenced. Let's just give a round of applause to Trubbish. All right? I'd never heard of this man, but I love him. And I don't mean I don't use him, but I just he's
everywhere.
Hell yeah! What up, Trubbish, my dude?
Yeah, that is a good point. I do think that I'm thank God this is the case, but this is the most integrated Pokemon have been into a world so far. Like, again, what they started with Sword and Shield, with their wild areas and how bad that was, but the cities and towns were so great in that. And then you get to RCS and you get in the little villages, and they'd kind of be popping around living their lives, doing things, and then
those areas ran so smoothly though.
Coming back off of that, and back to the question, you did it, but I never said too much. I really liked the wild areas, and I did like the battle zones, and I think I like it just because of the narrative and what they're why they're explaining that they're there. I understand your criticisms of them for sure, but I was always stoked when there'd be a wild area. Go in there. Who's in this? I don't know what it is. Start filling out my Pokedex, that thing. And even the battle zones, it would be like, why are they doing this? It feels like busy work. You can get to night easier. I would actually try to use the day. Like, I'm doing all this stuff, and then they'd be like, all right, night's coming. Like, oh, shit, fuck, I got to try to finish off this thing or that, whatever I'm working on, being vague before I could go do it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those, like, I don't want to get into it till other people have played, like, more in terms of, like, what I really have problems with a lot of the stuff. But I will say that from a gameplay perspective, like I explained, I just feel like it was a hindrance. Like, give me the option at the very least to, like, not do that stuff. But I also think, like, from a story perspective, like, they made some choices that I'm like, man, like, you really didn't take some core elements of this game seriously, and I was a little let down by that.
Lucius Augustus with the final super chat says, when you compare this game to any other $70 product, does it hold up? I find people compare Pokemon games to other Pokemon games.
I mean, yeah, to any other, yeah, like to every, no. It's like, look, this game is not Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that does bum me the fuck out. Because, like, my dream, Andy, literally, my dream in video games would be to just get a Pokemon at the level of 7 Remake, or 7 Rebirth specifically. Like, just, we don't need 1,000 Pokemon. Just choose the 150. It doesn't have to be the 150, but, like, do something, tell a story, like, have it be epic, have voice acting, have the gameplay, like, all that stuff. I understand that's not what this is, and probably we're never going to get that. This is a step that way, though, and I think that it does a lot of great stuff. But yeah, I think giving this a 7.5, that's why I give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
I think obviously your money is your money, and what you define as a $70 game is what you define as a $70 game. I think this is worth $70 for sure. I'm looking back, and I put, on the Switch 2, whatever, 55 hours into Violet, right? I imagine I'm far from done. Even if I was done, even if I had rolled credits, I still have side missions I'm gonna want to go do. I still want to fill out my Pokedex. I'm gonna want to keep playing. There's DLC eventually coming. Like, this again is my Pokemon game where I'm gonna be like jonesing to get back. I feel all the time. I just want to run around, have a baguette.
Have a little baguette, I guess.
Thank you, Brady One, who also asked the same question with a $10 super chat earlier. Appreciate you, Brady One. Any final thoughts on Pokemon Legends ZA?
I'm so happy with it. I think it's one of those games where I did the demo at World, and it was like, okay, like, you're dropped in this battle zone. We're dropped into a mega fight or whatever, and it was like, how does this all connect, and how does it work, and will the connective tissue be there? And I'm shocked the connective tissue is there. We didn't talk too much about characters. In one of the presentations, I think in the Pokemon Direct they did a whole thing where they were like talking about the cast of characters that are like your
Tawny and Urbane
and all them, yeah. And it was very much like, I remember during that presentation, like, why are you doing this? Who's gonna care? And I'm like, God damn, by the end of this, I like these people. I like their little deal. They got a Monster Squad situation going on here. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah. So I'm quite enamored with this game and very excited to play more.
Jumping off of that real quick, just because I do think it's another example for me of the presentation of it all mattering, is it's like, yeah, love them, love the characters, love the side characters. I've been loving the side characters the last couple of games. I think they've really stepped up. I mean, ironically, even from X and Y, which is I think where I started dropping off of being like, I hate your friends here. Like they are getting in the way of all of this. So for it to be back in Kalos here is like fun to see a team that I actually really care about them and care about their story. I'm not going to remember them in a couple years, and it's because they're not voice acted. If there was personality and something that I could latch onto, I would remember their. If they're saying their names and all that stuff, it would go so much further. But there's not a chance I remember them. They're going to blend with the last 3 games, and I liked all of them. I like these characters, but it's just I think that matters, man. That really matters. And so yeah, my final thoughts on this. This is a very good game. This is a very good Pokemon game. I want to see them continue to iterate on this formula because they got something there. And I think people are going to enjoy this one quite a bit.
One final question. In Pokemon, I guess it was Scarlet and Violet, there were a couple of story moments that had me going like, whoa, I wasn't expecting to give a shit about anything happening in the story. Was there anything on that level that just made you go, oh, damn, all right, cool. Thank you for doing this. This made my experience even better instead of just story fodder because I just like collecting Pokemon.
Really, the best way I can say this, and I've said it in like 10 different ways, but like I do think the last like 3 games have really started to hone in on the side stories and characters around you all adding up and mattering. And I think that they very much do in this. And because they're all in one city, characters are able to like come in and out of the story in a way that feels a bit more realistic than some of the other games, like with the Game of Thrones Season 6 fast travel type stuff, right? Even though they can fly, that's a joke. But like, it just feels a bit more. And again, the fact that these characters love the city they're in, and that's kind of the story. I think, yes, Andy, there are multiple moments that really, really made me go like, that was nice.
Nice.
Even not even having, the history. Yeah, agreed.
Hell yeah. Everybody, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we get together to talk about the biggest reviews, previews, and topics in video games live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. And if you love what we do, please support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. Catch today's KFGD on YouTube or podcast services, and know that until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.